What's going on, guys? Welcome back to WWE Network and Chill, where I, Graham G.S. Matthews, break down all the original content I watch on the WWE Network. And today we're talking the Clash of Champions 2020 edition of WWE The Day Of. Now, this just went up 2 days ago. I just talked about the 2016 WWE Draft Edition that went up a week before that, a week before I put it up on Sunday. This was also a great episode. Now, I know my network reviews are kind of all out of order here. I still have yet to review the 24 on McIntyre, which I've said every episode so far will be up probably on Wednesday, I promise. So keep an eye out for that. But I always enjoy these day ofs. They're always great. And I love the new format that they've been doing since, I think, Backlash in June, of how they kind of focus on a specific story or a match or a superstar. For example, the Payback one from a couple of weeks ago focused on Big E and Sheamus, but specifically just Big E and his journey up to this point. This one focused on the Jeff Hardy, Sami Zayn, and AJ Styles triple threat ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship. And I thought it was absolutely fantastic. Even Sami Zayn said on his own Twitter the other day when it went up on Sunday, he even said WWE continues to do great content on the network that doesn't get talked about enough, and I completely agree. So to start off the episode, we see Jeff Hardy giving a monologue, kind of what it was, called Descending's End, talking about the ladder match and high risks and his own career and stuff like that, which I thought was really cool. AJ Styles says that ladder matches are always unpredictable and that he goes into them expecting to get hurt. And why wouldn't he? Because these things are brutal. And specifically this one, this was probably one of the most physical and hard-hitting ladder matches I have ever seen in my life. Sami Zayn even calls the ladder a fourth character in the match, essentially, and he's absolutely right. Jeff Hardy realizes that he has the advantage due to being the ladder guy. You know, he's had a lot of ladder matches over the course of his career. They show some footage of that here from the 2000s to the 2010s. He's had ladder matches everywhere he's gone and has won a lot of them too. He does acknowledge that, I've faced AJ elsewhere, but I am always excited to step in the ring with him. He doesn't say he's like, he stepped in the ring elsewhere in wrestling. Where the fuck else have we seen Jeff Hardy versus AJ Styles? The answer is TNA. That's it. Only in Impact have we ever seen Jeff Hardy and AJ Styles, aside from here in WWE now. That's it. He does say also that it's always exciting to work with people he's never worked with before, that being Sami Zayn. He's very excited to step in the ring with him. AJ kind of backs that up and says there are no other guys I would rather be in the ring with than Jeff Hardy and Sami Zayn. And for three guys that had a lot of hostility for each other going into the show, they praise each other quite a bit here. He says the expectations are high. We get a cameo from Kevin Owens, who was watching the match from backstage, and he was kind of sitting at ringside before the show. He says that Sami Zayn has the advantage just due to always thinking on his feet and doing whatever he needs to do to pull out the victory. So he says that he has a lot to prove and that he's his pick to win. And he was spot on because Sami did exactly what he needed to do to win the match with the handcuffs and everything and became, or rather remained in his words, the Intercontinental Champion. We also hear from Sami, and he says that AJ Styles was one of the biggest reasons, and he doesn't know if he's ever told AJ this before or hasn't told him in a while, but he is one of the biggest reasons why he became a wrestler in the first place, which is really fucking cool to hear. Now, I thought they'd been wrestling for the same period of time. I don't know when Sami made his debut. AJ had been wrestling since the late 90s. So I thought Sami started right after. Maybe I'm wrong. But anyways, so Jeff Hardy talks about his various surgeries and how, his body is getting older and it's not as easy as it used to be able to have matches like this and pull out a good match. He's hoping for it to be good and he wants to stay positive, and sure enough, it was a great match. He also thanks God before the match for just hopefully being safe and whatnot, and that yelling helps him lighten the mood a bit, as we saw before his WrestleMania 33 return backstage on that 24, and how he kind of screamed backstage, kind of like yelled in the truck to kind of get out his excitement, get out all of his nerves and whatnot before that big moment. AJ Styles says that Intercontinental Championship, as has been well documented by now, is the Workhorse Championship, and that he wants to have the best match, and that belt is the best fit around his own waist. So they recap the match and all the highs and the lows, literally the highs and the lows, and how great of a match it was. Just brutal to relive. They did some crazy spots in that match. We see Sami thanking Vince afterward in Gorilla, which was interesting. And Vince literally says, after watching all these behind-the-scenes videos from the 24s and the Chronicles and everything else, this year, this guy says the same thing every fucking time. I know he can't, compliment everybody. But Sami walked up to him and said, thanks for this, whatever. Vince asked him if he was okay. Sami said yes. Vince said that's the important thing. Sami said, oh yeah, of course. Thanks again for giving me this opportunity. And Vince goes, time to go to work now, or go to work now. He says that same thing to everybody. He said it to Braun Strowman after he became Universal Champion. I feel like he said it to Seth at one point 5 years ago after he won the WWE title or the US title or whatever. He says it like in every fucking one of these documentaries and when someone comes up to him to thank him. That's like his go-to word. Go to work now. Time to go to work. Blah, blah, blah. Which I guess is better than shitting on the match like he did with Kevin Owens at the WrestleMania 33, but I just thought that was funny. So anyway, Sami didn't really know how the match was going to go or how he would feel without a crowd being there. Because you got to remember, I mean, technically he already had a match without a crowd at WrestleMania when he beat Daniel Bryan. That was a fanless arena, even at that point. Actually, a lot worse because that was without the Thunderdome, no screens or anything. Just complete silence. But he said it felt the same to be out there doing the ladder match, and he was very happy with it. You could tell, not just the fact that he won, but he was very happy with that match. And I feel like he even said this on Twitter that was the best match that he feels that he has had in like 3 or 4 years. And again, I completely agree. Sami's had a decent main roster run. It wasn't until this year that he finally won a championship, but he's been on the main roster now for like 4 years, 4.5 years. I think a lot of people forget that. But I feel like we haven't really seen a great Sami Zayn match since that Battleground match with Kevin Owens in 2016. He's had a lot of very good to sometimes very, great matches, but none quite on this level until Clash of Champions, I would argue. We see MVP confronting Jeff Hardy after his match backstage, and he calls Hardy a trendsetter. And he says, hey, maybe people will start walking around with a ladder in their earlobes now. And Jeff even said, like on a serious note, he thought his earlobe was going to fucking rip open. He might be done with the ear stuff now, which is a relief because it's always uncomfortable to watch for me and many other people to watch as well. He said that he thought his ear was going to rip open. With the weight of the ladder going down, he thought it was just going to tear his earlobe apart, which is gross. Styles says that ladders suck, but that match was great. Sami Zayn shows off his welts, and he says, listen, I don't want to endorse being in pain, but it's a purposeful pain. Taking all those bumps were well worth it for the moment of not only becoming champion, but having that masterpiece of a match. We even say Michael Cole confront Sami afterward backstage and call it a great match, and Sami says, that's a lot coming from you, Cole, having watched a lot of matches over the course of your career, which is true. And Sami said that he always wanted to win that Intercontinental Championship. It was always on his bucket list of accomplishments. It was always something he wanted to do. He didn't really get the run that he wanted with it originally because he had to vacate it after WrestleMania just due to leaving for a little while. So he's very grateful to have that, to have the belt back now, to be champion again. And he wants to have that run that he had 6 months, that he wanted to have 6 months ago. He wants to have that great Intercontinental title run now, being the workhorse, going out there and having great matches. Not exactly an in-character thing for Sami to say, but it's true. He wants to go out there and have a great Intercontinental title reign, as opposed to like Nakamura, who had like fucking 3 title defenses in a month, or in the span of 6 months when he was champion earlier this year. What a joke. But he says this is his opportunity to make up for lost time. And that was the note they ended on here. Great stuff. Really, really enjoyed this WWE Day Of. Definitely check it out right now on the WWE Network, the Clash of Champions 2020 episode. And you can check out all my other WWE The Day Of reviews right here on Network and Chill in the description box down below, and the playlist entitled WWE The Day Of Reviews. It's got a link in the description box, so check it out. Be sure to like the video, drop a comment, share the video, and subscribe to the channel for more daily content. Hit that little bell button as well to be notified every time a new video goes up. And again, I promise, hopefully, unless something changes, I'm hoping to put up my WWE 24 review on the Drew McIntyre episode from fucking 3 weeks ago, 2-3 weeks ago, tomorrow here on the channel. So again, subscribe, be notified when that video goes up by hitting that bell button. Can't stress that enough. Have a great one, guys. I'm Graham G.S. Matthews. Enjoy your week, and I'll catch your ass down the road.